Why does it take so long to get a hearing? I want to thank Ivan Oli, or Ali, Oli, I'm probably screwing your name all up, for posting about the comment about how it takes about 8-12 months to get a hearing. Now, if you look in the comments below, I've actually provided a link to the basically the process times for requesting hearings, and it's processed in months. For those of you who may not know, let me give you a couple of caveats that you need to be aware of. When you file a request for a hearing, that date you file the request for a hearing is the start date for calculating the months it may take for you to get a hearing. So for those of you who may have been in the process for a while already, who are getting mad because you're saying, I applied on this date, why do I have to wait? It's been over a year already. No. For purposes of getting your hearing, the date is not relevant from the date you applied. It's relevant from the date you asked for a hearing. Some states have one level of appeal, some states have two. So let's say you're in a state that you've had two levels of appeal, meaning you've applied, you got denied, you've appealed once, now you're going for a request for hearing. So today, like that day you asked for a hearing for a judge starts the clock. The reason why I tell people it takes so long is that most people fail to realize that Social Security operates kind of like on a pyramid structure of appeals. What does that mean? Well, that means the higher you go up in the appeals process, the fewer there are of actual offices that handle those appeals. Let me give you a good example. For instance, let's say you're in a geographical area that has several local offices. Well, all those local offices probably process about a good couple thousand disability cases per day. Now, if you get denied out of that local office, then you go up to a hearing office that has jurisdiction over these multiple offices. So that means, let's say that you're in, I'm going to use probably Florida as a good indication here. There's two counties that I'm thinking of, Hillsborough and there is Polk County. Well, in Polk County, there's a Lakeland Social Security office. There is a Winter Haven Social Security office. In Hillsborough County, you've got a Tampa Social Security office. You've got actually two of those offices. And so you've got 4 different offices. So you think out of those 4 offices, they're getting a bunch of appeals per day. I mean, a bunch of applications per day. If you get denied twice, everybody out of those 4 offices, if you went through those offices, when they appeal, only goes up to one location. And what location does it go to? It goes up to the Tampa District Office, the Tampa Office of Disability Adjudication Review, meaning the Tampa Hearing Office. And I know I left out a couple of offices like Valrico. I think I left out one other office. So it's like 6 or 7 offices. The point that I'm trying to make is that when you have one office handling so many cases, you're going to end up having a backlog. You're going to end up having a lot of people going into that per day. So as a result, like for instance, the example I provided you, keep in mind, the Tampa Office of Disability Adjudication Review handles the Tampa, basically Polk County, Hillsborough County, which means that they handle Tampa, Brandon, Lakeland, basically 3 or 4 very large metropolitan areas is handled by that one office. So as a result, you're going to experience a slowdown. Now, the nice thing about the list that I put here on here, which is actually linked to the Social Security site, is that you can get an idea of how long it takes to get a hearing in your particular area. So I know it gets frustrating, and I tell people all the time, it's a first come, first served basis. It's the first person who gets in, it's the first person how they calculate the number. So they typically try not to bump anybody ahead of anybody who's been in the system longer. But I just wanted you to be aware that unfortunately, because we have so many cases being processed and coming through, it takes a while. And so the hearing office only has but so many people. Why do I keep getting reviewed for my disability benefits? I got a great question from Carlos, and I'll make sure I get his name, Carlos Palo, who wants to ask the question about, I was asked about the monies I was receiving. I'm not working. Should I consult a lawyer, request a hearing? Why do I continue to be investigated? Okay. This is going to be a very harsh thing for me to say, so please don't take it personally. The reality is that under the Social Security disability system, is Social Security does not intend or expect you to be disabled forever. I know a lot of people out there on disability have conditions that they are fairly confident are going to pretty much going to last them the bulk of their life, and they fully anticipate that it's going to keep them out of work. Social Security doesn't operate on that premise. So Social Security has a responsibility to review your case to make a determination of whether or not you are still disabled. And it becomes even trickier than that because of the fact that if you're young, you're going to have more reviews than you're older. And you would say, well, that's not fair. I was like, actually, it is perfectly fair in the sense of thinking of it like this. When your disability benefits, when you get retirement age, your disability benefits converts to retirement. So guess what? If you're 61, 62, 63, you may only have one review because at 65, your benefits automatically changes in their designation from disability to retirement. That's everybody's afforded that same ability. So guess what happens if you're, as opposed to 61, if you're 31? That's right. You're looking at about 30 years of review if you make it all the way up there. And the reality is, and this is the other thing that I caution people, it also depends on the kind of impairment. If you were in an auto accident and you had a bad injury to your back and your leg, maybe at the time they did your first review, they're looking and they're saying, we think his condition will eventually improve. Well, they have a responsibility to go back to check to see if it did. So I tell people, don't get frustrated or think they're calling you out because you're getting reviewed more times than not. Social Security has a responsibility to ensure that you are still disabled. Also, for Carlos's question with regards to hiring an attorney, typically I tell people that you know when you need to be concerned about hiring an attorney if they're getting ready to cut your benefits off. If they basically are just doing the review and you're just annoyed with the review and you think you should have an attorney with you while you're going through the review, I tell you, you're well within your rights to try to find one, but good luck because there's hardly no way to get paid in a situation like that for most reps unless you're going to pay the attorney out of your pocket just to kind of watch your case and make sure they don't do anything wrong. But the reality is that if they're doing your review and they keep your benefits going, nothing has happened to you that's harmed you. So I know it's annoying that you keep going through it, but they have to review your case. It's in the regs. So what I tell people is this. If you're going through a review and you keep undergoing multiple reviews, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do in terms of getting treatment, you should be okay. However, if you're not okay, meaning they cut off your benefits, then you need to start looking at options to determine whether or not you need representation on appealing your case going forward.